All right, folks, thank you for joining this session of the Recall Town Hall and Gavin Newsom's downfall. Happy to say that we have some wonderful guests tonight. This is going to be a great show. Stay tuned. There's a lot to cover, a lot to talk about. We have Jeff Roldan of the independent filmmaker who just, you saw his segment, his trailer for the film that's coming this summer. He's going to be speaking to us about the production, and we have Ann Dunsmore on the line from Rescue California. Thank you both for joining us tonight. I'm so glad to have you. There's a lot going on in our state, and every day this governor gives us more reasons to recall him and more people reasons to leave the state. So my plea is stay and fight for our state and reclaim what we have. We already had millions of people flee our state. We've lost a congressional seat. We're entering a drought season, and 50 out of the 50 states, as that one segment said, or 50 out of 58 counties are in a drought state of emergency. And Newsom has called for a 15% voluntary reduction in water. All at the same time, Newsom is pushing the drive to remove 4 hydroelectric dams from Northern California. That's 4 dams that provide flood protection, power, and drought protection up in our northern state. And it's unconscionable. As we're going into a period of drought, you would think that if these climatologists, if these people that are pushing the agenda that we're experiencing climate, and I'm not arguing for or against that, but the fact is they're arguing that we're entering an age of climate uncertainty and climate change and extreme weather, extreme droughts, extreme floods. Then why the hell would you remove 4 hydroelectric dams that provide clean, green energy to our state up in the Klamath River? And California is already experiencing power shortages. Megan Ruse of Newsweek said that back as temperatures reached triple digits during a heat wave, the state's power grid operators encouraged residents to relieve pressure off the grid by removing or charging their cars, their electric vehicles, before the peak of the energy times. This is a time where you have a governor that's pushing for all electric vehicles in our state without setting in place the infrastructure to provide for that and the resources to provide for that need. There's a tipping point where the governor's absurdity, it just becomes unreal. And that's where we are right now. So Ann, welcome to joining us tonight on the Recall Town Hall. You're a welcome guest. You've been here before and you'll be here again. We are working hand in glove with the Rescue California team in order to secure the resources that we need to push this needle forward and to drive the football or the ball across the goal line to make sure that we are victorious come September 14th.
Warren, thanks for having me. We just came out of the field, as you know, with a poll on the heels of a $10 million media buy by Governor Newsom. And I thought we'd share the good news with everybody who's been working so hard for the last couple years. The poll was we completed a survey of 1,000 likely voters. We were in the field from about June 27th to July 1st. And our margin of error is 3.1%, so plus or minus 3.1%. So keep all of that in mind when I give you these numbers, because what you're going to hear is that if this election were held today, we would probably win. So first, I'm going to start with that theory that the recall is a statistical tie as we see it. Yes on the recall is at 46% and no is at 50%. And 4% is undecided. What we wanted to do with this poll, though, is figure out a worst case scenario. So we did several things. We oversampled Democrats and we undersampled Republicans. We also used a 60 to 65% turnout model. And we all know that this is not going to be 60 to 65. It's going to be more in the 50s, if that. We also saw that the support for the recall is bipartisan, with a plurality of independents, which basically means split down the middle, 48% technically in favor of the recall. And nearly a quarter of the Democrats, 24%, say they will vote yes to recall Gavin Newsom. So that's great news. If the electorate, if you just breathe on these numbers, we win right away. And this is before we ask any push questions, which are, if you knew that he did this, then how would you feel? Instead of that, what I just gave you was a straight up what we refer to as head-to-heads. So then if the electorate shifts only slightly towards Republicans, the yes on the recall would overtake no by significant margin. The sample of the survey was D, Democrat plus 22, which was 26% registered Republican, 48% registered Democrat, and 26% registered independent. The intensity, as you can imagine, and you all have been on the street and working this forever, so you already know this, the intensity is very, very high on the Republican side of the poll, and there is a lower enthusiasm to vote in the recall amongst Democrats. And we've seen this these numbers are corroborated in the Berkeley poll, of all things, where 33% of the Democrats said that they would vote on the recall and 77% of the Republicans said that they vote. That virtually wipes out the registration gap, 10.5 million Democrats to 5.3 million Republicans. It virtually makes it an even playing field, and then you have the independents sliced down the middle. If the electorate were to shift just from 22 Democrat plus 22 to Democrat plus 14, we would earn a plurality of the plurality of support that we need. A small increase in turnout among Republicans or decrease among Democrats would shift the yes vote to well over 50%. So here's where it starts getting fun. The governor receives his worst grades when it comes to his record on homelessness, gas prices, and the high cost of living, as well as crime. This has not come as a surprise, but I also want to point out that these are the pre-COVID reasons that this started in the first place, and are very similar to the problems we ran against in 2003 when we did the Gray Davis recall. So let's have a little fun with this. On the homelessness issue, a majority, so 57% of the voters give Newsom a grade of D or F, 57%, including 41% Democrats. So Democrats give him, 41% of the Democrats give him a D or an F when dealing with homeless. On gas prices and cost of living, 50 and 49% respectively give Newsom a D or an F. 30% of those are Democrats, give him a D or an F on gas prices and cost of living. I'm going to make this really fast. The best part, but not surprisingly, is when voters learn about Newsom's self-dealing and arrogant actions as governor, yes on recall easily earns majority support. So we asked a number of questions. They're called push questions. After learning about Newsom using his position as governor to benefit businesses he has interests in and the businesses of his major donors, while other small businesses and workers suffer, the recall moves from 46% in support to 57% in support of the recall, with 36% opposing and only 7% undecided. And I just want to edify here for a second. When we ask these questions, and usually on a campaign, we refer to these things as silver bullets. If we have 3 silver bullets, we're ecstatic doing happy dances. A silver bullet is, what is it that we can say that shoots them down dead? Well, we have 20. And by the way, silver bullet is defined by moving the needle 35% or more when you bring up a statement. We're not using things that are 50% because 7 or 8 of them moved by 60% or more. So we were right on target with the questions. And the most interesting thing about it was the answers are you more likely or somewhat likely. The majority of the 60 to 65% that we were moving the needle on were already in the more likely and less in the less, somewhat likely. So these people had already thought of these questions and had a feeling about it before we asked them. Bottom line is it's a very tight race because support is all across the political spectrum, whether you're looking at any demographic. That I would say the 35-year-old Hispanic women, the men have a very visceral reaction to the crime numbers. By the way, his numbers in the Bay Area media market and the LA media market are horrible on these issues, especially homelessness and crime, because you do have recalls going on in both San Francisco and Los Angeles of the DAs. And so the crime numbers are being touted all the time. Plus you can see it, you live it when you go to those cities. So again, the underlying thread on most of the questions that people reacted to was the self-dealing, paying his wife $2.5 million with money that came from no bid contractors, that he was able to use executive power to just award no bid contracts, and then they turn around and give money to his wife's charity, who then in turn paid her. So there's a lot of these types of things, lying about the French Laundry. We are also starting a campaign called Gavin the Gaslighter. So just on a happy note, I thought I'd share with everybody who don't know what gaslighting is. Here are the 11 warning signs of a gaslighter. And this is a long used, by the way, on a very serious note, gaslighting is a long used propaganda strategy that Putin uses. It's very normal to see this type of thing in politics. So number one, they tell blatant lies. Number two, they deny they ever said something, even though you have proof. 3, they use what is near and dear to you as ammunition. 4, they wear you down over time. 5, their actions do not match their words. 6, they throw in positive reinforcement to confuse you. 7, they know confusion weakens people. And I'm going to go back to that in a minute. They project. Number 9, they try to align people against you. 10, they tell you or others that you are crazy. 11, they tell you everyone else is a liar. I want to go to the confusion weakens people. We did our poll, and I'm going to close with this. We did our poll because there was so much that we could use against him. We knew we could only pick the top 3 to 5 issues. As it was, we kind of got a little grabby and we stuck with 8. But we were being overwhelmed. And what happens when you do that, there's a law in technology. It's called Shannon's law, which means that if you throw enough information into a computer, it creates a white screen. It can't compute. It doesn't care. Politics is the art of confusion. By the time you get to an election, what happens is people just end up voting on the moral compass, the true north of the person that they support or are voting against, because often it's only a choice of 2. So we have to play on that. And I also want to finish by saying we have to work together. If there's one chink in the armor, we're vulnerable. If we're not joining hands with each other and inviting other people that we may not have talked to for 5 or 6 years because of political differences, invite them into the circle, because here's who we are first. Not Republican, not Democrat, we're Californians. And that's who I am. I'm a California mom. I'm a mad mom. I'm a California grandma. I have a child with cancer who is leaving the state because the stress is a trigger for her 2 types of cancer and her Crohn's. And I'm going to miss her desperately. So this is my big fight, big boulder up the hill. I'm here for you guys. I talk to Orrin more than I talk to our own consultants or my own chairman every day, from early in the morning till late at night. Some things never change. And, this victory belongs to everybody on this call. You did it. We were here just to support and augment the good things that you guys started. And I couldn't be more proud of Orrin, Mike, and everybody who's worked so hard, the board, Robin, Susan, everybody, if I'm not mentioning your name, I'm sorry, Dan. And so, Tim, I see you there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we are going to be looking to spend about $7 million on media. We know our message, we know it works, and we're going to bring it home and bring it home strong. Thanks for having me on. Good to see everybody. Did I do good, boss?
Yep, you did. You did.
Okay.
You're not done.
Oh.
So you have a mission that you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to drum up a couple things. You're actively fundraising in the field, and everybody needs to know that we are all on the same team. We're pushing towards the same goal. We're driving the force forward together, hand in glove. Okay. So we're independent and separate entities, but we're driving towards the same objective. And that being said, rescuecalifornia.org, they need funding. Recallgavin2020.com, we need funding. This is streamed out through YouTube and Facebook, where we get most of our viewers. There's a small number of people that are watching this live right now on Zoom, but that's magnified tenfold out over Zoom or over Facebook and YouTube. But and is also, Rescue California has funded the I-360 program, and they're driving their volunteer force, and they're building a database, and they're walking precincts, and they're phone banking, and they're doing peer-to-peer texting and things like that. And go ahead, if you could give us a quick rundown and let people know where they can go in order to join your team and help work through that.
Our team.
Yeah. Okay. Our team.
Okay. So basically, we had a choice. We had to either work through the California Republican Party and still try to tell everybody we were Switzerland, but use their voter information, feed information into their database, and so forth. So it was a very big decision to acquire I-360, which is about $40,000 a month, to allow people to work from home. This is a summer election, largely doing phoning. Of course, there's canvassing, but it's so molecular. It's micro targeting, as as we can see, we know by looking at the polling results, especially, that micro targeting our way to what is going to probably be about 6 million to 6.5 million yes votes would take this kind of coordination. And our dear friends, the Olson brothers, who were validating all of our signatures before, are actually the mechanics of our Get Out the Vote and Volunteer platform. So it's really for everybody to use, and it's very simple. You can go online to rescuecalifornia.org, and there's you can look for an existing a pre-scheduled meeting on training and onboard that way, or you can email me or Orrin and just say, I want to volunteer, I need to do a training, but I can't, the existing schedule doesn't work. I've got 5 other friends who are willing to do the same. We'll put you in, we'll do a special training for you. We need to get to about 1,000 volunteers that are making phone calls, arguably to 6.5 million people 2 or 3 times. So that's a lot of what we're doing. We will, by the way, the polling that I just gave everybody, that is on our website, I believe. And for sure, the reasons to recall Gavin, by the way, are the questions that we used in the poll. So you can see exactly what we did when we went to do this there, as well as see the summary report from our pollster. So I just encourage everybody, give large. You can give unlimited contributions to either committee. We are both sole formed committees. We can't endorse candidates or we lose our status. We violate the law and all of a sudden money start going into fines and Orrin has to answer questions and fill out reports and questionnaires. I feel very strongly also, and I think Orrin feels the same, but I can't speak for him. I think we welcome all candidates into this race. Every single one of them brings a different demographic to the yes vote. And I say, come one, come all, and go do your job. And if you're confused as to who you should give to, it's like the horse races, win, play, show. Give them some money and see what they do with it, because that person has to run again next year. And we don't need to be feeding them with a silver spoon. I am not in favor of a California Republican Party endorsement. I also don't think it's going to make a big difference. It's not going to hurt us that much, but that's something you might want to do if there's one or two people in the race. But there's 12, and they're good people. Larry Elder, Kevin Kiley, John Cox,
Doug Osee.
Doug Osee. I'm going to leave some people out, and I don't mean to. Caitlyn Jenner, Kevin Faulkner, anyone. And I get asked this question all the time.
And just,
how do we
just
know we don't wind
for
up with somebody worse? What?
Full disclaimer, just because we didn't mention a particular candidate or we mentioned several candidates doesn't mean we endorse or not endorse any of the people that are on that ticket. So
that's why I say I'm sorry if I forgot somebody. And by the way, so I believe that those candidates are going to help us get to 6 to 6.5 million votes. Firmly believe it.
The more of them that are out there running their campaign, hopefully they'll do it smartly and they'll run their campaign not against each other, but against the governor, because that's who they're running against. They need to knock the governor off, because if we don't get a yes vote for question one, it doesn't matter how many votes they get after the fact. We have to get a yes vote for question one. And that should be first and foremost in everybody's mind. All of the candidates should be pushing towards that, and then let the best man win or woman.
And there is no enemy if they want to get Gavin Newsom out or they don't like the way the state's going. They are persuadable. Most everybody has an opinion who is going to vote right now. So bring it on. Keep going. You got us where we are. And I just want to say, God bless everybody. Thank you.
RescueCalifornia.org.
And recallgavin2020.com.
Very good. All right. And thank you very much. God bless. And we will talk to you again later and look forward to hearing from you.
Okay. Thanks, Orrin. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to check out.
All right. Thank you.
Ciao.
And moving right along, we have Jeff Roldan. Jeff, welcome to the team. How are you doing, my friend? That is a wonderful trailer. I wish we had it spooled up. Maybe Tim can spool that up again and then give us a notification when he's ready to play that, because I'd love to play that another time before we're done with this segment.
That'd be great. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Tim,
Okay.
Can you do that for us, or is that something that we're not able to do?
Working on it right now.
Because you are the man.
All right. Awesome. Well, I did.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
Orrin, as you know,
Jeff, how are you doing, my friend? It's been a busy couple of months, and nobody busier than you, traveling up and down the state, putting as many miles in and clocking as many hours as many of us.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
If not more.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Awesome. Yeah. It has been a wild ride. I mean, witnessing it kind of from as a third party and documenting this journey that everyone's taken. It's been really interesting. It's been a real treat, actually, to see people of California taking the power back into their own hands and making this happen. So a lot of what I'm doing on my end, and people have asked about the project, and I want to update people. I'm still in production and post-production mode, kind of at the same time. Kind of had a hope that the election would actually be pushed back for this project's purposes, but I'm not gonna.
You're the one guy that affects the most, huh?
I'm the one guy, but it's okay. I'm gonna be burning the candle at both ends. So what I'm really trying to do with this project, and just as you attested, and as Ann was talking about, question number one is so important. So aside from telling the actual miracle, if you will, and the historic meaning of the recall event, we're also stating a case for why Governor Newsom should be recalled. And it's not difficult, but I am picking, some of the top issues that people have brought up and going to focus and hone in on that. And, if we were going to all of them, it'd probably be a 20-hour docuseries, but we don't have time for that. So the point of this is just to get it out a few weeks before the election. We're putting it out there for everyone. There's not going to be, a charge to view. We're going to figure out the best platforms to just try and distribute, get the actual file out to people can just share it, and it'll become a campaign piece for voting to remove the governor in question number one. A yes vote.
Well, I'll tell you what, talking about a 20-hour series, I have one of the most difficult tasks I've been asked to do in my lifetime, but it's also one of the most important. And so the Secretary of State sent me a notification that I was invited to construct a 500-word argument, and it can only be 500 words, to recall this government. And it's an argument in favor of recall. One of the most difficult things to do is pick which topic is going to be eliminated. Which ones do we talk about and which ones do we leave off the paper? Because there's not enough room. There's simply not enough words to describe. Do I include that he signed SB 145, which is commonly referred to as the pedophile bill? And do I include the fact that he imposed the controversial sexual education curriculum on our public school system? Or do I include the fact that his kids attended public schools or private schools while he closed down the public schools? And I see Mike Netter has joined the ranks. Mike,
I'm
welcome
actually
aboard,
at the
my
State
friend.
of California building in San Francisco.
We're all looking up to you, Mike.
They should. Hold on one second. Let me get up front. I was listening to your ramble, Lauren. How's it going?
It's called a rant, not a ramble, Mike. You ramble, I rant.
No, I rant, you ramble. Let's be perfectly clear.
I
Can
don't
go
know about that. Do we need to have this conversation here?
Probably not today, but hold one second. I want to say that I'm incredibly proud to be here tonight. This Republican GOP meeting, if you can see, is actually at the State of California building. And I got to tell you, when I walk in these places, I am so damn proud to be a Californian. I'm just not very proud of the politicians which run these buildings. And so look around San Francisco. It can still be a beautiful city. And Oren, God bless us and everybody out there for what we're doing to take it back, man.
Absolutely. I wish you were on earlier when we had Ann Dunsmore on, because she was talking data, polls. That's right down your alley. And you have some data and information that's important to these people, and they need to hear about it. California, there were some numbers that you and I talked about recently about the quality of life in California, and California's ranking between 2019 and again under this governor. So give us a quick rundown, because I know you have that photographic memory and you don't need a computer in front of you to remember.
That's absolutely true. Look, U.S. News and World Report, just to put it in perspective, puts out every year a ranking of states to the other states. They rank 7 different categories. In California, ranked 27th when Gavin came in office in 2019, and we dropped to 28th. But here's the most important category why we're doing this recall. The last category, and we dropped in almost every ranking, comparison of the states, it's what's called environmental. And that doesn't just mean how the air is. It's U.S. News and World Report graphs from everywhere, how people feel, all these factors from reports, U.S. Census Bureau. Get ready for this. When Gavin entered office in 2019, we ranked number 5 to all the states, how we felt about our state, number 5. In 2021, get ready, here it comes. We ranked number 35. Literally, this is how we feel about our state. We've dropped in almost every other ranking, but people, when I was talking to Orrin earlier, I said, the figures stunned even me, because the fact how we feel about our state, our natural environment, the social ability of it, dropped from 5th to 35th. That's the reason that the recall is most successful.
Because this state has lost its luster and it has gone from the golden state to the gutter state.
Did you talk about the homeless stat and
No.
the poverty stat?
That's your job.
Up? All right. So this is interesting too. Not all right. 2019, when Gavin came in office, to 2021, and I picked 2019 because that's when he took power, allegedly. The homeless population, which is already the largest of any state, both numerically and percentage-wise, grew 6.8%. 6.8% just in the time Gavin's been in office, but wait, there's more. Here's a
Is there an attorney general candidate standing
There's our
behind you?
attorneys with us. I have my attorney with me today, so anything I say can be defended in court. You're on our town hall.
There's a crowd of people across the street looking at this guy saying, who is this crackpot?
This is San Francisco. They're kind of used to it. They're amazed to have a phone which works.
Stand back.
Okay.
Stand back. He's okay.
Here is another very interesting stat, and this is really scary and why the recall should be successful. And what did I told you this morning? Why we need them to get a vote now. So per the US Census, 17.6% of Californians live under the poverty level as defined by the US government, but wait, there's more. The political, the PP Institute, the political one's the same one that does the polls, does another
Political Policy Institute.
Thank you, Political Policy Institute. It's getting late our time. The Political Policy Institute said it's not just the people that live at the poverty level, it's how many live near the poverty level. That ranking, which is the largest in the United States, has 34%, or almost 1 out of 3 Californians living at or near the poverty level. Think about that. And that has increased dramatically since Gavin took office. So for my final blast, and I'll turn it back over to you, Orrin, is this. When we talk about when the election starts, we say September 14th. However, Gavin, magically enough, is going to send out checks to many people that will be landing in their mailbox and bank accounts on September 12th. The election really starts when the mail-out ballots go out on August 14th. Everybody out there, as we say all the time, get the word out, do what you can to harvest ballots, whatever you need. The vote starts August 14th, and we will win this election. Do not let the 33%, the 1 out of 3 Californians, get their head spun by the $600 check. Look, in addition to the Capitol, this is our damn building, and we're going to take it back, and we're going to win this. It starts now. Back to you, Orrin. Have a nice day.
God bless, Mike. I like the man on the street interviews. That's great. I love that. I think we're going to have to include that segment into our future town halls. So that's awesome.
Keep me on the street, Orrin. It's where I belong.
There you go. Well, it's where you're going to end up, because you have been donating your time free of charge to the people of California for well over a year. And I'm sure you're backing yourself into that near poverty level yourself.
I'm already there. I'm probably
your car's in the shop. You have a 2005 clunker that barely gets you around. It's left you stranded on the side of the road more times than I care to mention, because I had to drag your ass 2 hours home one night. My truck left me stranded on the side of the road 3 or 5 times driving back and forth to LA. But you know what? These are the struggles of California. It's a labor of love. We're happy to do it. And God bless you. Thank you. Safe travels home, Mike.
Thank you, my friends. We'll see you next round. We'll see you Friday nights at the French Laundry.
Thanks, Mike.
Jeff, roll on. Back to you. Ed,
Yeah.
why don't we roll to that clip real quick, Tim, and then we'll have Jeff run through it, and we'll talk about the movie.
I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday.
Let's We can watch that one too. That's not the newer one.
Oh, well, dang, if we have a newer one.
Okay, let me, give me a moment, I'll dig that one up.
All right.
All right, Jeff,
So
why don't we
what-
talk about what we're doing in the video? Well, Tim's dragging that one up, and then when we get to it, Tim will tell us and we'll talk about what we can do.
Awesome. I did want to make a quick plug, if I can, still for
Absolutely.
it, the production side of this thing, and asking for contributions to help get this thing to the finish line. Be super helpful for the cause. So if you go to recallgavinmovie.com, recallgavinmovie.com, there's a link there to the trailer and also to our GoFundMe page. That's recallgavinmovie.com. I also want to put, because this isn't necessarily just my film. It's the film of everybody who's been a part of this movement, and I hope to represent it well. But I also want to put out there that if there are people who would like to send in a link to one of their favorite, favorite is sort of tongue-in-cheek, moments of Gavin Newsom, or maybe a news clipping or something like that perhaps we could use in the film, something off YouTube, you can email that link to info@recallgavinmovie.com. That's info@recallgavinmovie.com. There's a lot of content out there, and I want to make sure that we are able to kind of look through everything and try and tell the story the best we can.
You probably want people to send in clips if they've got some favorite rally points, or, stuff like that too, or, something humorous that you've done that, related to the recall, or, stuff like that.
Yeah. We put a call out for that back in March, and continue to want to gather that as we're heading toward the finish line here with this project. So that would be super helpful as well to tell the story, and likewise some any of the more ridiculous things that the governor has said in the past, or anything you can dig up on YouTube, that would be helpful as well. Just I'm sure there's a lot out there.
Very good. Tim, I'm going to count on you to be the clock keeper, because I don't have a clock in view right now, and I can't bring one up while I'm on the Zoom. So keep me in check, would you, my friend?
Yeah, we're still good.
Okay. You got that clip?
Working
Email
on it.
address. Real quick, the email address to send any information or any links or videos, you can share those to info@recallgavinmovie.com. info@recallgavinmovie.com.
And that's to email those in. That's awesome. So Jeff has been traveling up and down the state, interviewing people that have been involved in the recall. He's been embedded with our team, with me, with Mike, doing interviews. He's going to now branch off and go do some interviews with the Rescue California team and others that have been actively involved with this movement. There's a lot going on. We don't want to miss a beat, folks. This is an important historical moment in our state. Knock on wood, we are making history in California. We haven't made it yet. We need to get this governor out of office. But when we do, this documentary is going to chronicle the steps that we went through in order to get to where we are now. We've already achieved history with what we've done. We've brought in the most ever signatures on a petition drive in our nation's history. This is the largest ever attempted petition drive in our nation's history. It's only number 2 in the world. The only thing that supersedes it was the Brexit petition drive for Britain.
All right, well, I want to go ahead and roll the trailer, and then we'll have Jeff talk about it a little bit. How's that sound?
I love California. It was just an amazing place.
All of the natural wonders, the beauty, amazing people and companies and culture.
But we've watched it be decimated.
Everything that is great about California has just been overwhelmed by the failure of our politics.
We have the worst schools. We have homeless out of control. We pay the highest taxes, and they are trying to erase small business.
Now is the state that everyone wants to get out of.
I will have the incredible privilege of serving as your next governor.
Gavin Newsom's policies were driving the state towards disaster.
Other efforts that are going on, including an effort to recall you.
I honestly haven't had a chance to even pay much attention to it.
This governor wants to ignore the recall, hope it goes away, but it's not.
He has fashioned himself in the mold of an ancient Roman dictator.
If there was an executive who is this abusive and dictatorial, he would be fired. We're just firing a politician.
Our job is to make sure that this governor is held accountable and that he is recalled from office.
This is something we just got to do for the state. We're going to stay and fight.
There are a dozen cities out there right now that are rising up against Gavin Newsom. Goodbye, Newsom!
Somewhere along the line, the people in California became the underdog.
We are the people. All I see are different races joining together.
The business of politics is going to change.
We can make change.
That's the power of what we're doing.
Will you be lifting your pandemic emergency on June 15th?
The emergency remains in effect after June 15th.
Long live the king.
Floor is yours, Jeff. Got to unmute.
Technologically savvy here. Actually, it's interesting.
That's
Majority,
amazing.
You see those, thank you. You see those shots as we're passing through by some homeless encampments. I think, if not all of them, were shot from the passenger side of your truck as we were driving around California. So that definitely wasn't stock footage or anything. It was from our real experience of getting out there and seeing what's going on. Also, I think it's interesting just kind of watching that. It's sort of, it makes me proud of everybody that's been involved in this and sacrificed their time and energy. And looking back on that, and, you know, regardless of the outcome, obviously we want the governor out, and that's the goal. And pray that happens. But just the historic, you know, importance of what happened, and everybody will have memories to moving forward and stories to tell their kids. You got something? You're muted.
Nope.
Okay, good. So, so yeah, I mean, I really wanted to let, you know, the point of putting this trailer out now also was just to get people, like I said, to sort of drum up that emotion if they're feeling a little bit apathetic toward the cause, and just to remind them of what they've gone through and what we're headed for here, and get it to the goal line.
Gavin Newsom has taken the Golden State to the gutter state, just like I talked with Mike on the phone. And we can't forget the devastation that he's launched on our state over this last year. And this documentary is going to go a long way to help push that forward. The sooner we can get it out, the better. The more resources Jeff has to work on it, the better. He needs your help financially to get it going. He's an independent film producer. He's not financed through the campaign. He's not financed through any other means other than the same way we were financed to bring this recall to the ballot. It's crowdsourced funding. This is how we get things done. This is us pulling our resources and investing in ourselves. It's investing in our future so we can secure a future that we can all live with here in our state. And Jeff's work is amazing. When I saw his work, it was a soft sell for me to bring him on board and have him. I wouldn't have anybody else do this documentary because he is such a talented artist and really a gifted, storyteller. He does an amazing job with what he can do. So we need to give him the resources to the best of our ability to make sure that he has what he needs to produce the best product that he can for us, for our state.
Jeff, what is your website again?
It's recallgavinmovie.com. Recallgavinmovie.com. Pretty easy. So I also wanted to mention there's a film out there I did last year called Liberty Lockdown, and it's on Vimeo. It's kind of in that same vein as far as promoting our freedoms and talking about the lockdown and the overstepping of the government. It's on Vimeo. If you search it for it, Liberty Lockdown. I'm not plugging it to make some money. If you're interested in actually taking a peek and you don't want to pay the Vimeo rental, just shoot me an email as well, and I'll send you a code, a one-time code to view it. And then that way you could kind of experience that as well and kind of get a feel for what will be coming up with this film project.
The rental is not that much, folks. Okay, it's worth it. It's worth the watch. Take the time out, make the investment. This is how this guy makes his living, and he's working to do the job that the mainstream media is trying to hide from us. He's exposing things around us that need to be told. He's telling the untold story, and that needs to happen. The only way that we're going to continue that is if we continue to fund people like Jeff and stop funding the mainstream media.
If there's any silver lining at all to COVID and the lockdowns, I think it's people like me and others. They have a lot of stories where, although the values that you carry were kind of inside you, somewhat concealed, this era has really squeezed it out of you, and you've had to come out and can't sit on the sidelines anymore. So productions like this, like the Recall movie, I look forward to doing more to promote those types of values, freedom and none of anti-socialists and that type of feel. We want to make sure that we're not headed towards locking us down even more. So.
Well, and folks listening to what we're talking about right now, I forget what the Netflix Mr. Hastings' first name is, but Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, has given $3 million to Gavin Newsom to help him defend against this recall. Now, we all saw that in the presidential election, money doesn't mean anything, because there was a billionaire, Mr. Bloomberg, who was putting billions of dollars in to buy votes to get his name on the ballot to get the nomination. He didn't get anywhere close. He got one nomination, and that was from a small Pacific island that, not even close. Money doesn't mean Gavin Newsom's going to win. But here you have Netflix giving $3 million to Gavin's defense fund, where we need to pull our resources together, give $5, give $10, anything, no donation too big or too small to help him produce his film. No donation too big or too small to help us achieve our objectives either. Everybody needs a little money. We need to rub our nickels together and, put these resources to purpose. This is something tangible that you can do with your funds to actually help move the agenda that we have forward. It's a positive agenda. It's change in California for the positive, where we're actually making a difference with what we have. This is a groundswell grassroots movement, and I can't tell you how important it is to us and Jeff to help get this done. So, and I am not good at passing the hat. It's very difficult for me to ask for help. That's why you hear me stammering and stuttering, because it's outside of my character to actually ask for help. Working at the sheriff's department, I've always been the one who brings the help. So this is out of character for me, but that's how important it is to me that these projects get done, and Jeff gets the help that he needs and we get the help that we need.
Okay, so as we come closer to the end here, I have a question that's been pending for a little while now about where can we place the signs for Recall Gavin? Can we put them on street corners, or what kind of property can we put our signs on? Oren, can you answer that, please?
Yeah, the best locations, obviously, it's private property where you have permission to place them. And then as far as if you're driving around town and you see corners where you normally see political signs, or if there's real estate signs that get posted in those areas, the general rule of thumb, and you didn't hear it from me, sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than it is permission. That's hyperbole, okay? It's a joke. But if you see signs there, then okay, it may be a welcome place to place a sign. But the best place to put it, private property where you have permission.
Warren, what about your neighbor's house?
All of my neighbors, minus one, would welcome it.
Oh, okay. Depends on the neighborhood.
That's right. So very good. All right, folks. I think
so. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in this Friday to Friday Night of the French Laundry on KBC.com from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Call in or watch for our notifications in our Facebook groups on where to join in the chat on our Zoom link.
That's legit.
That is legit. Absolutely. Jeff, do you have anything else for the crowd that you want to pass on? This is your time to shine.
I appreciate it. Look, really, it's just, for me, it's so important, not just my project, but, you know, as anyone who's aware of this knows, there's a great hold and control on information these days. And so it's very important that people, you know, get to see and receive messages that are truthful to, and not necessarily just skewed to one side. You know, this production that I'm working on, obviously there's opinion involved, but when it comes to the governor and policies and decisions he's made and so forth, that's all just reiterating truth and history, you know. And so I think what's really important is that people are making the decision to recall the governor off what this governor has done. And he has done a lot, as Oren spoke earlier. The list goes on, and I'm sure as we go in the next couple of months, he'll give us more material. But very, very important just to make sure that people are aware of the truth and not a lot of the lies, which I've been able to, through this experience of producing this film, spend time personally with Oren and a lot of the team and get to know them, have personal conversations, late night conversations and so forth. And to see the opposition tell blatant lies about people it's really, to have that inside look, it's very, I don't know, it's just disturbing that goes on, and I'm sure it goes on a lot. But because you're on the outside and you're receiving news information, you take it at face value. We're in an era where we can't take things at face value anymore, and we need to make sure that we're searching out the truth and that it's being told as well. So that's what I'm trying to do here with this story.
Excellent. Jeff, God bless, my friend. Thank you very much. And with that, we're going to conclude this recall town hall, Gavin Newsom's downfall. God bless everybody. God bless California. God bless America, and good night.